I'm looking for all the baddies all over the world. Ladies, where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? Yeah. Real bad on the prowl. Heard you was next, but I'm up now. Yeah, I'm shining like bling blow. And I see a couple haters in the crowd. Yeah, drip, drip, drop, I'm juicy. Don't really care what you say. And we all on Duce. It's your birthday, girl, go crazy. Now make it clap and get low. Yeah, now back it up a little more. Yeah, now bring it up slow. You need a stage, the way you putting on the show. Now grab your bestie by the hand and let her know she bad. Said grab a baddie by the hand and let her know she bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? Yeah, I'm fed up, so shut up, don't need your opinion. I'm about to count up your pension. Get up, I need your attention. Hurry up. Keep calm, yeah, never in a rush. See a baddie with a big butt. She a stallion, don't get bucked. Now make it clap and get low. Yeah, now back it up a little more. Yeah, now bring it up slow. You need a stage, the way you putting on the show. Now grab your bestie by the hand and let her know she bad. Say grab a baddie by the hand and y'all know what to do. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? Yeah. If you bad and you know it, then shake it when you show it. If you bad and you know it, then shake it when you show it. If you bad and you know it, then shake it when you show it. If you bad and you know it, then shake it when you show it. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? I'm bad, you bad. Where my baddies at? Yeah.
Get where my baddies at? Ooh, you, where my baddies at?
Yo.
As you
Shut up,
can see,
Jim. I don't need your opinion.
As you can see, we've got a full house tonight, but first, let's go over Miss Touche gave us 5 gifted memberships. They went to Mike71, KJW, GMK Woke AF, Marty Moser, and CL Paxton. So thank you very much and congratulations on everybody who got the memberships. While we're at it, we are gonna do membership gifting. Let's see. I've got 10 memberships to give out for this month. Let's give out 5 right now.
Who wants them? Who wants them?
Let's see.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Let's see. Jilly Bean got one. Betty McCauley got one. Tube Sock 7 got one. Stevie T got one. And Troy R. You know what? Let's do the second batch. Any objection to doing the second batch?
No.
Do it.
Come on, throw them bones. Throw the bones.
No
whammies. No whammies.
It's being slow, but let's see. Taith Leach got one. Sin City Giggles and Liberty got one. Kathleen Maynor got one. Janice got one, and Caffeinated Mama got one.
Ooh.
There you go, folks. I'm sorry if you didn't get ones, but congratulations to everybody who did. As you can see, we've got a full house tonight. Miss Touche's here. Miss Touche, glad to have you here. Miss Touche is still recovering, so we're glad to have her in the house. Especially recovering to be on the panel. We never thought she would again at one point. We've also got Pants with us. We've got Judy. We got Phil. We got Gia. And we got NCR. And I've got
Hey, Super.
bone to pick with most of you, including Miss Touche. What the hell happened last night?
Nothing. It was fine. It's
Nothing.
great. It was a great
Nothing.
night.
Quiet
Technical
night.
issues.
Great night. Quiet
Quiet
night.
night.
We cleaned up after ourselves.
Yeah, we're chill. Just hanging out.
I was told you had our 5,000 subscriber party without
Nope.
me.
Don't know what you're talking about.
No,
Don't
no,
be
Don't know
silly.
what you're talking about.
no. See,
What?
the guy who runs the kebab and taco truck, he needed a spot to park, and he couldn't pay me cash, so he said he would provide us with some snacks for
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah,
So
it was
what
just,
Bill
you
was
know,
there.
was the
about some
remains-
sodas. You know, it was
Yeah.
you know, just a chill night. It's just a chill night.
The remains of the 5,000 made out of ice that you dumped in the swimming pool?
I was supposed to. You said it would
that was-
melt. You said it would melt.
That was
Uh-huh.
that was not us. That was not us. What
There's
that
no
was-
footage anywhere. No footage.
There is footage. There's
No.
tons of security
I
footage.
can
No.
explain.
As
I can
God
explain.
is my
You see-
witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Me too.
You see, I can totally explain the whole 5K remnants of ice being in there. That was not for 5K. What that was for a 5,000 mile run
No,
that got canceled, and we just wanted to be something environmentally friendly with the ice, so we put it in the pool.
You have no evidence, Touche. You have no evidence.
You know, Jim, Gia has been training NCR, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's training him to run a 5K.
Yep, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
That's what we talked
And-
about all night.
And he tried his best, but he needed a little bit of an ice down.
I needed a nice
And the ladies of the evening who showed up at 1 a.m. because somebody got their signals mixed.
Okay, that was totally Dwayne.
Yes, yes.
I asked him if he would do a surprise project for you by redoing the lighting in the green rooms and some plumbing. I can't control what he does when we leave.
Well, they apparently went across the street to the Finks rather than the Finches, and
Ooh.
thankfully the Finks paid for them. So I don't know.
That's kind of surprising out of the things. They're usually a little stingy with that kind of thing.
Well, that's for real too. Our real across the street neighbors are the Finks. That's their real name. So
I don't know where you're getting your info from. I really don't.
So I want to thank everybody on behalf of myself for the 5,000 subscribers. It was a tremendous achievement, and we couldn't have done it without all of you, both panel and our friends out in the audience. We are going to push till we beat our old network. That network's a little over 10,000. We're going to get to 10,000 hopefully by the end of the year. So, knock on wood.
10K, here we come.
That's what we want.
I'll be pimping. Zoe's getting groomed tomorrow for the next pimp session, so we're good.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep. She's getting her ass fluffed tomorrow.
Oh.
So we can go out again. Yep.
Uh-oh. Well, today in the real world started off awful badly, and thank you, Touche, for the $2 super chat. I invited the pool boys and the pool boys only. Again, more to explain. So today started badly for Mr. Lane Myers, as a new charge was put on Mr. Lane Myers. And let's see if I can blow this up a little bit, if you can't see that. Let's see. Mr. Lane Myers got another charge today. It's a misdemeanor 1. It is interference with judicial proceedings.
Uh-oh.
This was added to the charges that he'll be arraigned for on Friday. What do you think about these charges? I think I know where they stem from, but... and that would be from last week when he was having all of his fans bombard the court to try to get the judge to quit.
Well, I also think his overall appearance in court. I mean, it was, oh my God, that was god awful.
So the courtroom. Okay, so someone complained that I did not draw any stick figures or anything. So I do have some diagrams today.
Okay, let me put you on big screen.
The big screen.
I never get the big
All right.
screen.
So this is the floor. Let's see if I can. There we go. All right. So these are the elevators. So you come up from the elevators and let's see. That way is like a little lobby for all the witnesses and stuff to sit. And then this way are where the courtrooms are. And there's Judge Metcalf's. That's his courtroom. So everyone was out in that hallway. They literally have like church pews out there, wooden benches. And as long as the doors are locked, you stay in the hallway. And that was where everybody was for quite a while this time. And then once they let you in, I'm very technical drawing.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I mean, obviously the judge, I think that's the court reporter, and then like the assistant, and sort of bailiffs, sort of a couple of people kind of sharing. And then Mr. Myers was there, and the state was here, Miss Stiles, and then like that's where the jury sits, and so like the correction officials and stuff were there, and then those are the doors to get in. This where all the seats are. Very fancy. Very. That's my sketching ability. But,
Michelangelo could not do better.
Now, since you're on the big screen, we can ask you anything and make you turn red. How many people were there, would you say, in total?
By the time the hearing actually started, I will say this: the Dave, you are very sweet. Very wrong. It started with me and a stringer sitting outside waiting. I did not see her Friday, but she was hoping that a local news station would pick up the story. And Miss Stiles
hoping.
Miss Stiles came with an armed escort this time, which I did not see that last time. Along with two folks that appeared to be like helping her with tech, because as soon as we went into the courtroom, they were getting the prepping the big overhead screen for YouTube videos and stuff like that.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Miss Stiles is the prosecutor.
Yes, the state. So then a woman who I'm gonna guess is like 20s, 30s. I mean, anybody less than 40 looks young to me now. She looks young to me. But I know, right? What I figure out later is that was Mr. Myers' girlfriend, wife, whoever. She had a pair of glasses that she wanted to give to Parvin, the assistant counsel for him.
Yes, William Parvin.
So I don't think Mr. Parvin has done many criminal cases where he is helping out a pro se litigant. He has no clue how to get things to the client. Like even in jail, he has no clue.
Yeah, he brought that up last time because if you are actually the attorney representing somebody, then it's not an issue. But to be
Yeah.
just simply co-counsel is different.
However, glasses. He can't hand the glasses to Mr. Myers.
Right.
The jail has to process them and either hand them to Mr. Myers or hold them safe for him if they are not safe to be out. He had no clue. The prosecutor, Miss Stiles, was like, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. You are not going to be able to hand him glasses. Even if they're in a case, doesn't matter if they're in a case or not. Does not matter. You're not going to be able to hand those to him. Like, but the jail is so far away. And the jail, Pima County Jail, is kind of out in the boondocks. It's literally past a railroad. So, like, you go up the railroad, cross the tracks, and down. And if you don't slow your car way up, you're gonna Dukes of Hazzard that sucker. Because I have been over, I have been on that road a number of times. It is not a nice place to be. If you Google it, you will see that there are a lot of deaths that happen there that maybe shouldn't. It's not a pretty place, and it's right by a federal prison. So it
Federals.
is. You know, if you're going down there, chances are something has gone wrong, or you're in training with the police academy, one of the two. So he was like, I just was there yesterday. I was there all day. I'm not going down again. I get that. Because I don't think he is getting, paid a whole lot for this.
No,
but,
he's a public defender. He's a basic level public defender.
Yeah. Look, I'm an awkward person. So is he. We can both be awkward. Miss Stiles she is like, listen, public servant. I can answer questions on parking, on the jail. I can answer this. I can answer that. What do you need? She was like, you are not going to be able to do that.
Right.
And once the doors were opened, the CO was like, nope. He had a folder of stuff. He's like, you can't use that kind of folder. What kind of folder am I supposed to use? Miss Stiles was like, this is the kind that doesn't have tabs for some reason. I don't know why you can't have tabs.
But of course, anything that you can't make a weapon out of.
I'm not sure how maybe a paper tab is somehow dangerous on a folder. I don't know, but maybe
you could use the hot contraband like LSD.
Okay, sure. He hadn't even taken the staples out. Even I know from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Even I knew that. He didn't.
Yeah.
God bless him. He didn't.
He does seem a little wet behind the ears.
Well, he's not. He doesn't strike me as young. He just strikes me as, oh, you plead a lot out, don't you?
Okay, headphone warnings real fast. Let's get it out of our system.
Oh no.
Hey, Facebook Karen.
So that was interesting. He did not have a lot of folks show up for him today. His wife/girlfriend did. She sat as close to him as she could. They keep the front row of seats, they keep empty. And so the next row back is where she sat, like 2 seats away from me. And then he had the one guy from Friday that had to be told a couple times to shut his phone off.
Okay.
That was it.
I think that guy's Tucson police suck.
He strikes me as having that kind of a There was a very well-dressed man that struck me as an attorney type that he was talking to afterwards, but I could not figure out who he was in the picture. But yeah, that was interesting. Because all the guys that showed up on Friday talking about, okay, who's live streaming him next? Nope.
It's
Just
not the
FYI.
husband of the victim, the prosecutor guy, is it?
The victim did not show up for this hearing. And so therefore neither did the husband. There were definitely other people from the state. And I don't know the players with that. But yeah, there was it ended up being very different than Friday's.
Now we'll get into that in a moment. But first, overnight, Lane Myers, through This Is a Public Service, distributed a 4-page email, a form letter that all of his supporters were supposed to spam to all the news organizations in the Tucson area, to their senators, state senators, legislature, House of Representatives. They didn't say the president this time, so you weren't sending it to Trump, but everyone who he could possibly think of, they were giving addresses out of. In this letter, he berated the victim by name. He basically continued the things he was doing during the previous stuff. It was kind of expected. That's what we were preparing for, was fire and brimstone, where he was expecting all his supporters to come in again and be this mass support network for him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying it didn't happen.
Before the judge even comes in, Ms. Stiles barely sits down at the prosecution table. Mr. Myers is already sitting. Mr. Plavin goes sits right next to him. And before she can even boot up her computer, did they tell you I said I'm willing to not do YouTube? Right out the gate. He was leaning up. Did they tell you? Did they tell you? And I think she was a little surprised by that, because she had just been talking in the hallway about how, getting all these videos up on the screen for the evidentiary hearing to show why he shouldn't be using YouTube anymore. And then as soon as she comes in the room, did they tell you? Did they tell you? I won't do YouTube anymore.
Yeah, that is a major spoiler warning for those who just tuned in. Why don't we do have the trial or the hearing queued up. So why don't we get into the great capitulation?
Yeah.
It's going to run about half an hour. We'll probably get out of here by about 9:20 or so East Coast time.
Yes, Christopher, I was there in the courtroom.
Yes, she was there. She was and Christopher Ruff is Direct D. So
I will drop my theory now, and so as you watch and listen to this, see if you agree with me. I think being completely locked up and away from drugs has changed Lane's behavior noticeably.
Yes.
I mean, he seemed like a reasonable human being today.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is screwed 20 ways over is what I'm figuring. I'm figuring the money has run out and there's no other way. He's not bringing in as much as he expected. He doesn't have the support he promised of 30,000 people joining in this cause. And I mean, he pulled in $75 yesterday. We almost beat him in donations. So actually, sorry, he picked 125 yesterday. It was stuck on 75 for most of the day. But again, that is nothing when it comes to court cost and filing and all that. There are serious problems. So,
and if his attorney was able to spend a good chunk of the day with him yesterday, his advisory counsel was able to spend a good chunk of the day with him yesterday, he may have, been able to clearly spell out where he really sits on all this stuff. But I will also say his demeanor, his ability to hold himself in one spot as opposed to bouncing all over the place, was also very different today. It was a different man than what I saw on Friday.
To me, it sounded like not to age myself, but it was Leave It to Beaver. It was Eddie Haskell. It was the best friend who, whenever was a jerk whenever the parents were not around, but as soon as the parent got there, why Mrs. Cleaver, that's a wonderful hat you're wearing today.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like that.
And certainly the judge had something to say for, you know, as soon as he got on the bench. The judge had a little something to say.
Yes, and let's go straight to that, because this is a reaming that I think some of you will probably want to hear.
Before we do that, I have a quick thing.
Sure.
I think Lane is trying to go for ineffective assistance by counsel, but he can't do it because he's going pro se.
Right.
I think this is his plan.
I don't know, but let's...
I heard something about that today, and his counsel there said that's not going to happen. So...
Well, let's cue it up. The judge is about to start talking.
All right. And Mr. Parvin is your...
and just say stop if you want me to stop. So just
counsel,
yell it out.
So I want to address a few things before I hear from the parties. So I thought the hearing on Friday did not go particularly well with respect to the way the courtroom was supposed to operate. So, Mr. Myers, I thought that you were disruptive during the course of that hearing, and I want to address that for today's hearing. I don't want today's hearing to proceed as Friday's hearing did. First of all, your right of self-representation can be withdrawn. In Arizona, criminal defendants have a constitutional right to self-representation, but the right to self-representation is not absolute and may be terminated when a defendant deliberately engages in serious or obstructionist misconduct. Serious and obstructionist misconduct includes serious violation of court orders and rules when the conduct signifies that continued self-representation would undermine the court's authority and the ability to conduct the proceedings in an efficient and orderly manner. Withdrawing your right of self-representation, I do have to give you clear, unambiguous, and timely warnings, which I'll do today. Conduct that can cause the defendant to lose the right of self-representation includes displaying utter and complete disrespect for the court, verbal outbursts, the tenor of those outbursts, consistent disregard of the trial judge's warnings, and wild antics in court. So some of the things that we're not going to do today is talking over me or over the prosecutor, swearing, calling the prosecutor or victim's names, continuing to speak when I have asked you to stop, threatening behavior, including trying to stare me down, encouraging others to harass the prosecutor, the victim, or court staff, being disruptive, talking faster than the court reporter can take down your comments.
That was a big thing from last
that,
Friday.
I will.
Yeah, you were saying the poor court reporter was trying to keep up.
Trying, and she looked pretty flustered leaving the courtroom Friday. Again, today was night and day difference, especially for her, because people spoke one at a time. He was not overlapping and having such that pressured speech, trying to get everything out so fast. He wasn't that way at all today. Also, as soon as the judge started talking about, you know, taking away your rights to being pro se, here's how I could do it, he immediately started taking notes. So I have no idea what his notes were, but he at least appeared to be doing things at the right time, as opposed to, say, grabbing a stapler and going nuts like I saw him at a different hearing. I think it was a city court hearing. So, and obviously when he's in custody, he's not going to be allowed a stapler, but still, he appeared to be doing the right things at the right time today, which again, completely different than what was going on Friday.
Next time, will you ask him where my stapler is? He borrowed my stapler. It's my
The
stapler.
stapler.
That's
The
my
stapler.
stapler. It's my stapler.
Stapler.
I want my
Ex-
stapler
and
back.
real,
Excuse me.
re-
You took. I think you have. I think you have.
My
I think you have
stapler.
a
That's my
stapler.
stapler. I bought that stapler.
real fast. Let's get it in. Thank you, Touche, for the $2 super
You out
chat.
the window.
Will
I could see the squirrels.
Will Jose be armchair quarterbacking this thing? Chile DeCastro doesn't give a fuck about this. He doesn't. He
Nope.
has too much going on with his board game and everything else. He doesn't care. So, yeah, he mentioned it the other day on his live, but it was like 2 seconds and gone, just like everything else with him.
Except for Henry and his books, which he can grift off of.
Yes, Henry and his books, because Henry is still in jail, and Henry's going to be in jail for a while. Sullivan County, I believe, was delayed. The trial for that one, which was supposed to be going on right now, has been delayed till July. So, and just so Mr. Lane Myers knows, there's a lot of similarities to how Henry got put away. Harassment, stalking of public officials, sending his people to go after these people, refusing to comply with court orders. If you want a case study, look at Craig Henry. And Craig Henry's in jail for this. So it doesn't look good for Lane Myers right now. It just doesn't. Even if you like Lane Myers, it doesn't look good. And it just... Let's pop back in with what the judge is saying. This is still at the beginning. It's an admonishment.
Admonition.
I can't say it. You know, it's after 8 o'clock at night. I am old. Gosh.
It's ammunition. Ammunition.
Ammunition. It's the ammunition hour. Yes, it's ammunition. That's right.
How did he get that in prison?
We'll advise you to stop, and if you persist, I'll find that you've waived your right to self-representation, and then your lawyer will take over, and you will not speak at that point. If you continue to be disruptive, I'm going to order you held in a different courtroom, and we set up a Teams link so you can listen to what goes on in the courtroom. At the same time, Mr. Myers, you do have the right of self-representation, and I don't want to withdraw that right to you, but it's up to you to act in a professional manner and not disrupt the proceedings. So with that, I'm going to start with the state, because it was the state's request for this hearing as to Mr. Myers' phone calls with those who record those phone calls and then broadcast them, and the concern was that they could be used to harass the victim. So, Ms. Stiles, where are we on that?
Your Honor, I think Mr. Myers had something to address the.
Okay, before your jaw drops with what Lane's about to say, it is Christopher Ruff in our side chat. That is Direct D. And believe it or not, I know a lot of the panel do not necessarily like him, but his insight into the court system in Arizona has been more than valuable in just the background of this case. He's been through this stuff. He knows what's going on.
And he knows that Pima County Jail is not a good place to be.
And he pisses off Merv, which is a big plus.
Yeah. Merv
may not
hates
agree.
his guts.
I may not agree with his tactics, but I will be polite and civil. I'm not going to say anything negative. That's not what we're here for. We're here to discuss this craziness as Lane Myers.
And I would like to say this because Direct D's been gracious. He's welcoming to his chat, so welcome to our chat. So
yeah,
enjoy your stay.
That's I think I promised you documents as soon as I get them from the sheriff's department still hasn't sent those documents. I paid for them last week. We're still waiting. So hopefully they come in one of these days. It was the police report.
No, nobody block him. He's not doing anything wrong.
No, God.
He's not doing anything wrong. He's being polite. He's being civil. This isn't jump on him. This is point out what's stupid that is Lane Myers.
Special weather statement. What the?
And basically, he's him. He's welcome. You're all welcome in our chat. But what I'm throwing off here,
it is at this point that Lena shackled again, handcuffs to the belt, to the waist thing. He is raising his hand now as much as he can to get the attention. That's the prosecutor saw that, and that's why she said what she just said. I believe Mr. Myers has something to say first.
Okay, now, folks, we are not responsible for your jaw hitting the floor as to what Lane's about to say.
The court with, he had his hand up.
All right,
So
Mr. Myers, what do you want to tell me?
Well, thank you, Rachel. I wanted to, when you're talking about the decorum and all that, I wanted to apologize.
The audio will get better.
I understand. I want to make it clear to you that I understand what you're saying, and I understand my responsibilities as both the defendant and the attorney, especially since I'm about to become my own attorney and all this. And so the thing is that it's all new to me, so I don't claim to have a bunch of courtroom decorum experience. I do think I know some about the law, but that doesn't mean that I can act a certain way. So
Okay.
I want to say I'm sorry, and I do realize it's a tough situation being up there. To me, court is supposed to be adversarial, but not with the judge. Not. And when it's my turn to talk, that's when I can be adverse to their position, to my position, not.
Right.
And it wasn't my best day that day.
All right.
I didn't know that right off the bat.
And I know you're under a lot of stress. Everyone who comes to the courthouse is under stress. You're in custody. You think that you are being wrongly accused, and I understand that. In part, we have to have decorum in the courtroom so that everyone can be heard, and so one person gets to speak and everyone else listens while that person's speaking. So I appreciate that. All right, Ms. Dial, what's the state's? How do you want to proceed today, or what is your? What do you want to address?
Your Honor, so I was prepared to put up exhibits to show the live streams and then to play jail calls, also referencing that he, first of all, knew that he was being live streamed. And
okay, we're going to pause it here because Judy had said something at the start of the show that Styles had come in and basically set up for this big production. Take it away, Judy.
She had two people with her that was working on a tablet and working to get the videos up on the big screen that is basically pointed right to the jury box. Obviously, there's not a jury now because this is all pretrial stuff. But they had it all ready to go. Just they tested it. It was running. All she had to do was push a button to get it going. And as soon as she walked in the room, it's like, by the way, remember, did you hear? I'm not gonna do YouTube. Are we good? Are we good? I will say this. He called her Rachel throughout the entire proceeding. She kept calling him Mr. Myers, as is appropriate for courtroom demeanor. I hope he starts he didn't drop an F-bomb today.
Did it feel to you like he was intending to be disrespectful with that, or is he just clueless on that?
That's a good question. I am not entirely sure.
It didn't come off as intentionally disrespectful to me.
That's kind of the way I took it too, Pants. It seemed to me like he was actually trying to be nice.
If he's going to do that with a jury in the room, the jury may hold that against him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we're going to get to a jury now because of everything that happened.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
But
spoilers.
If he does that with a jury in the room, if you got a bunch of old farts on there like me, they may hold that against him. So we'll see.
See, that got my pro wrestling-o-meter. As most people know, I did work with pro wrestlers for most of the 90s and into the 2000s, and the work, the fake character, the trying to get something out of you by buttering you up. There's some have that fatal flaw, and his fatal flaw is Rachel this, Rachel that.
Right.
If he were, to me at least, if he were sincere, he wouldn't be using Rachel. This is just a ploy.
It's total work.
Because I knew that you guys would be, it didn't end up being a 5-hour long hearing this time. because I knew you guys would be streaming it, I focused more on body language and how people were moving, you know. The judge this time, last time, I mean, Friday, he couldn't even get his computer booted up before Mr. Myers was spewing all kinds of stuff, just, you know, going off. And there was so much of Friday of Judge Metcalf trying to rein him in. Where
Right.
today, he was leaning back. I did not realize this. He's a pen chewer. He would turn on his pen, just looking at Mr. Myers and just reading everything he could.
Now that ties into something I wanted to bring up with the panel, comparing Friday's behavior with today's and the fact that he's chewing on his pen. Does anyone else think he's starting to get the withdrawal symptoms?
Yes.
No,
That's the judge.
The judge was chewing on the pen.
Oh.
The judge was chewing on the pen going,
I thought you meant that was Lane who was chewing on the pen, because that would be a pacifying technique.
He did not do any of that. And like a lot of the, I mean, he was Friday, it was like he was trying to conduct an orchestra with the belt on, which just, dang, I can't even imagine what that might feel like, but okay. And I can never remember his name. The other counsel for him.
Parvin.
He was like matching Mr. Myers' energy with, you gotta calm down, you know, and so they were both very frantic. And now it's, I mean, Parvin found his whisper voice. I didn't know he had one. He found it. Because he wasn't going like this all the time.
Okay, one sec. Thank you, Tony the Tiger, for the $4.99 super chat. Let's not attack people, please, but thank you for the super chat. He has been through the system. He has knowledge, and you know.
Go. Here it would be my suggestion. Next time DirectD goes live, go listen to it. Just listen. Right? You don't have to like him. I still call him Direct Douche. That's not going to change. Yes, there are some antics that, you know, he's done, all of us don't care for. But I have to say, lately, he has been spot on with a lot of his analysis, and you can appreciate the knowledge he's laying down. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and the fact is, we treat everybody the same in our side chat. So please, no fighting, no fussing, no killing each other. Let's keep it civil, folks.
I will say this: I did enjoy his coverage on for public safety. He was very factual about everything.
Yes,
he brought receipts. He did not make up allegations. He did not do personal attacks. He provided proof of everything he was saying to contradict what he was saying. Again, I do not like auditors. I don't think how they act is appropriate, but I will commend when I see good work, and I saw good work on that.
And one last thing, and I'll drop it from here. Lane doxed him and threatened his family. And I don't care who you are. No one deserves that. That's beyond the pale. No one deserves that.
And I know.
Yes, DirectD is a cop watcher. Not the same thing.
Okay, my apologies.
Okay, let's jump back into the actual hearing, or else we're going to be here till midnight. So let's grab this a little bit more.
Oh, so we can't pull a Lane? I was going to dance to Ice Ice Baby.
Oh, God. Well, if somebody pays, you will be dancing to Ice Ice Baby. You will be dancing to, well, we can't play the music because we are monetized, but still, I'm sure Pope can rap, and
No, I can't. No, I cannot.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
And that he was using that as a means to cause potential harassment then to the victim and then as well as the court. My understanding from Mr. Myers, though, is that he is agreeing that he will not be live streaming from the jail, meaning he's not going to call somebody else so that they can then live stream him on YouTube, and that he's agreeing to that during the pendency of this case. Is that correct?
All right. So the parties are going to enter a stipulation that the defendant will not live stream any calls from the jail.
Bad.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Pants, for the $20 super chat. Yes, I would pay to see that. Yes, indeed. We will make a special night just for you, Pants, where
I'm not dancing.
we may even do it pre-show where you'll have your special time with Mr. NCR.
Why are you turning me into a whore?
We can even play the music.
For the money, NCR. For the sweet, sweet money.
That's right. It's the first of the month. We have to hit $100 to get paid for May. So yeah, remember, I'll take money from anything at this day and time.
Pants needs his brown chicken brown cow.
Yes, because
Why can't I
after
hire
that
Diamond
hearing,
Dallas Page
during
to
that
get
hearing,
out on you?
the first I had heard about it was during the hearing.
Uh-huh.
So then, as soon as she brought it up, I saw the concern she had, right? And so to me,
Tell him you call him daddy for enough money.
They're not hearing.
Sorry.
You got to turn that.
So I got to speak into this.
It helps.
You got to. It
It
bends.
bends.
It could bend.
There we go.
Thank
Not to be that close, but it just has to be pointed to you.
He
Thank
was
you.
right up on
Your
it.
Honor, when I was the message I was trying to get through to Rachel as well as you is that, okay, we're all adults, right? You know, clearly Rachel has a position that what I was doing was interfering with some type of the process, right? And you know, you seemed concerned enough to want to have this hearing and stuff like that. And it's my thing is like, well, I'm an adult, right? I'm a grown man. Well, if you're telling, if Rachel's sitting over there saying, you know, we have this
God, he's being
concern
so
and we need to
disrespectful.
bring it to the court, well, that's easy. I stopped doing it then, and
Yes, this is classic. You know, he's gonna be like this for the rest of the hearing. It's and
Oh, yeah.
as Gia's pointing out, Rachel says it quite a bit.
And she, from what I could see, poker face supreme. It did not appear to bother her at all. My guess is she knows how difficult he can be, and is like, if this is not going to be a battle that I'm going to fight right now, because there's no jury, and they're really like, it's just not worth it right now to fight that. That was my read of it. I could be wrong. This is the one from today, Cicero.
Yeah, this is today's hearing. Judy was in person again for us, and we thank her for that. We will be taking at some point to get her some nice alcohol. Nice alcohol. But
The finest of box wines.
That's right. Yeah. Chris
Yeah, I
has
was
a
gonna say.
good point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, point that out. Yes, and we have common ground on this, right? You know, this is not a free speech issue, right?
Yeah.
Pick somebody out and harass them, and it's trying to make it into a First Amendment issue, and it's not.
Touche jumps in on the name issue with the $10 super chat. Would he be calling a man with the same job by his first name? It's demeaning to her. He didn't call the judge by his first name, and that's right.
Yeah.
This is why I was thinking he was putting on a show the whole time. It's just Rachel.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's trying to get under her skin. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. I believe that, and I think she's professional enough to not buy into it.
Well, at least he wasn't talking about her looks like he was on the air last week.
Right.
Yeah, he was going there. He was pushing buttons, and some of the colorful names he called her in the titles of some of his live streams before he went in. were less than respectful, let's just say.
Self-regulation. I mean, I have a duty to this court, just like as my own attorney, just like, you know,
Duty.
anybody else is a defendant and an attorney, that I have to behave as the defendant. And then I also have to act professional as the attorney. And so giving myself legal advice, the attorney me giving the defendant me legal advice, well, obviously, let's remove any tension between myself, the prosecution, the victims, and all that kind of thing. Well, that's easy. You don't want me to go on YouTube. You don't want me to go, you don't want me to live stream on YouTube. You don't want to hear my calls from jail being played on YouTube. Well, then that's simple. I won't do that. And, and it's a simple matter of, I take responsibility. It's one of those things where you're kind of assuming, well, it might be a gray area, it might not. And now here we're at a hearing and last week, and she's saying, I got a problem with this. So I'm saying, well, if you got a problem with it, I'll stop.
And let's compare that to last Friday,
Mm-hmm.
where he was saying, I'll give him a week to pull off the charges. After that, Trump's going to free me.
Yeah, or this is going to go to the Supreme Court or whatever.
Yep.
I also think that the appeal by whatever, I just forgot the name of the group.
ASU.
Yeah, they basically said no way. They don't do criminal cases to begin with. And the fact is they weren't going to touch that anti-slap motion. It was so poorly prepared that it would be like trying to keep water in your fingers. It just, flowing through your hands. You weren't going to get that through an appeals court. He still may try, but I really don't think that's going to happen.
I know I'm probably dating myself with this reference, but did anyone ever watch King of the Hill where Dale was trying to sue the tobacco company? He represented himself. He was doing this exact same thing as the defendant on the witness stand, getting off and then questioning him as a lawyer. Does anyone else see Lane doing that? Does anyone else honestly see Lane
Yes.
He did at one point today refer to as defendant me versus defense me.
I see him doing that.
Judy, check private chat.
Yes, sir.
Right on the side. And just to get this point by a concerned citizen, yes, Lane factually and actually committed crimes he committed to and went so far as to stream his crimes. Last week when he was out of control, yeah, he did. I mean, he's on air directing people, and he's just forgetting that he was trying to get more charges of what he was saying, but certainly didn't help himself at all last week with his behavior.
And I obviously, she could attest to this too, or whatever the word is, testify to this, that I haven't done it since, right? I mean, I haven't.
That's correct.
Okay. And I made sure that I'm telling people when I'm on the phone, do not contact the victim in any way, shape, or form. Reference the victim, bring attention to the victim, and mostly I'm trying to say that, like, I'll be straight with you. I was being critical of you, right? And so that's like one of the things. And to me, it's like, well, if it's simple as protecting the victim, that's different than the court, right? It's two separate things here. Like, the victim is a higher priority than necessarily the judge hearing that I didn't like his ruling on the slap or something, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't agree to that, because if she's going to play a conversation where I'm making condescending remarks about you, that's going to open it up for you to have not that you can't remain impartial, but I think the best for everything is Lane, just stay off YouTube. Okay.
And
Well,
again,
with that, I don't know that we need to.
compared to last Friday, it was, I have every right to do this. I will continue to do this. You can't tell me otherwise. To all of a sudden today, hey, if it's going to be that much of a problem, then I just won't. Whiplash. What? Yeah. So either he got meds, he cleared the drugs out of his system, he had a decent talk with Parvin to figure out what life is really like, or some combination thereof.
And he got scared. I think,
all of the above. I don't know.
Don't discount divine intervention.
Well, I honestly think that reality is hitting him, that he thought he had so many supporters. He thought he was demanding that people show up in court. And when the judge says, don't film, you film, because I want to see you next to me in these jail cells. And nobody showed up, and nobody filmed. As you said last Friday, the one guy was playing on his phone. The judge said, or the bailiff said, hey, knock it off. He went outside, finished up what he was doing, came back in, and was not a problem. I think.
And the girlfriend, wife, whoever she is, started messing with her phone. The bailiff jumped on her like that, and she put it away right away.
Right.
So there wasn't any Spartacus moment at all.
Yeah. He doesn't have the support. I mean, he did raise $3,000 this month, a little over $3,000. But the fact is that Chili raises $300 or $3,000 anytime he goes live for a cause within an hour or two, even if they don't need it, like with Chili's Angels the other week when he was raising money for bond in a no bond state where they were going to get out without bond. So
no bond.
Yeah. But still, Lane is probably facing the reality of being in jail. He's going to be in jail for at least until the trial, and who knows how long after that he'd essentially go to prison, but how long he's facing. Direct D on his show earlier said probably a year or 6 months to a year, I believe. So that's got to be playing on him. He's used to being free and doing whatever the hell he wants to do. And now everything he does is regulated, and he's not cut out for that. Plus, this influx of money is not coming. Everything he's doing is turning to shit. So why not try a new approach?
Address that. If a problem comes up in the future, we can address that in the future. Was there anything else? We're going to talk about the schedule a little bit, but anything else we needed to address today?
Your Honor,
with that,
just that this came up.
With that, the judge was like, "Oh, so we don't need to deal with any of that stuff then." So she had a stack of CDs, literally this big, that she didn't need then. But she pivoted well, because before the judge actually entered the courtroom, they were talking about, in the midst of Parvin trying to get discovery to him, and in what form and what kind of folder to use, and all of that kind of minutia that has to deal with what's allowed in a jail and what isn't. Lane started talking before the judge even came in about how there is no law library anymore. They have done away with a in real life IRL law library, and it's all accessible now by tablet. And that is going to be a challenge because everybody's sharing the same tablet. So they get into a discussion of this, but basically that's the end of that evidentiary hearing, because Lane said, okay, so then I just won't stream. So then done.
Okay. Let's pop in here just with good night, Touche, and good night, Gia. Thank you for being with us tonight. Luke's question is, in the last hearing, Stiles mentioned Lane had a bond hold in another AZ case as well. What case is that? Okay, so Lane was out on charges of violating the essentially the protective order from his victim. He picked up new felony charges. And I believe the way it works in Arizona, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you're out on bond for felony charges and you pick up more felony charges, you're going to be held. Yeah, automatically held. You're not going to get out.
Yeah, it's automatic, no bond.
There was a hearing on this, I believe it was last Friday, where he wasn't going to get out. Or actually, it was before that. Sorry, last Friday was the modification hearing. Before that was the no bond hearing. And this is the second set of charges that he's picked up since he was charged with the first set of charges. We broke the news earlier today that it is now 20 charges in the 2 cases he's facing with a, what was it? I just went blank on it. 1 second. New charge is interference with judicial proceedings is a misdemeanor, and that was what he was charged with this morning. But it's a second batch of charges. Ultimately, this will come up in a few minutes in this, where the judge is assigned this second set of charges. They're going to be merged into one super case where he's facing 20 different charges, essentially.
That'll happen in the future. It has not happened yet because he hasn't even been I just
arraigned.
Lost the right word. Arraigned.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, he'll be arraigned on Friday. Yeah.
Friday. Yep.
Okay. But yeah, in a few minutes, spoiler warning, in a few minutes, Lane is going to agree with prosecution that the 2 cases should be merged. I don't think there's more stuff coming. I mean, she's got him with 20, and
if he's not going to be streaming, he's not going to be getting into more trouble because he's not budging from the jail right now because the other case is no bond.
Right. Well, here's the thing that I picked up slightly, and it's a bit of a nuance that Lane put out. He said he's not going to broadcast it. It doesn't mean Josh won't.
Right.
And my gut feeling is he's going to have Josh do it, and then they're going to say, well, Josh did that on his own accord.
Well, it's like what Josh did last night, where he distributed that 4-page form letter for all of his fans to write everybody in the damn world. Also, last night Josh did the second of these audio recordings that Lane's been promising to distribute. That basically he's been threatening to show off that, yeah, I really have been talking to the cops and the FBI and whatever. So the first audio he released was last week, which was him talking to some secretary or something, police dispatch or something, and it was nothing.
Or the nothing.
Yeah, last night, from what I listened to, it was a police detective, and again, it was a nothing burger. They were shooting the breeze for half an hour. It did not show that the police are really on my side or whatever, like he's been threatening to do. So let's jump back into this real fast, and we're going to come up to a lot of things we just covered.
In one of the videos is by the YouTube person that he's been in contact with, the disclosure that we provided was then somehow provided to that person who then had shown it all on his YouTube channel. And under Rule 15.4 of the Arizona Rules of Criminal Procedure, subsection D.
D as in David?
Yes. Disclosure provided in this case cannot be disclosed publicly. So we have an obligation to provide the disclosure pages.
Okay, say that one more time.
The judge instantly turned around as soon as she gave the cite, instantly turned around, grabbed the book, and started flipping pages so that he would see exactly where in the the regs that she was talking about, and you'll hear what he does.
Okay.
Disclosure to Mr. Myers, and he needs to have the disclosure, but that disclosure then cannot be given publicly. And this was back on March 18th that happened. And so I just want to make sure that that's clear to Mr. Myers so that he understands it and is aware of that rule so that we don't have that issue come up.
While there's a natural pause, Directy, is your wife's complaint for the doxing, for the disclosure of, where you and your family are right now? Just let me know in side chat, please. I'm intrigued here.
Mr. Myers?
I both agree and disagree with some of that stuff she's saying. First, I want to clarify, like, as she did say, as Rachel said, that was before I was in custody. So I obviously haven't been able to do that since. But also, that kind of falls back to that thing with trial publicity. Police reports are public information. I realize there's a gray area with the 15.4D. I'm very familiar with that from different cases. But it also, under
And there's his reply, yeah, similar to what he's dealing with. Okay. Yeah, he may not be done with...
Yeah.
He may not be done because... yeah, if your wife is anything like you've described her, yeah, I think this would also go to court.
We're behind her 100%.
Yes.
Chris, just want you to know.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not good.
Now, mind you, I've lived in the same place for 27 years now, and my address has been public for about since 90, whenever we moved in, 97, 98, because I work online, and that was pre what people knew as doxing. So anyone can find my house at any time. But if I had my own kids here, I would not want that information out there, and I'd be as paranoid about it as anyone could be, because frankly, they're weaponizing it, and it's stupid, it's illegal, someone's going to get hurt if it's not changed.
Yes.
Again, the child publicity, I do have the right to talk about the police reports and certain disclosure, not all disclosure, but certain things that are a matter of public record. Anybody could go get a copy of that police report from the police department and pass it out. Now, I understand the concerns of me giving it out. And again, it's the same thing. I'm not in jail, so it's going to be kind of hard to do that. Or, I mean, excuse me, I'm in jail now. I wasn't then. And, you know, the press does have the right to the public records, but also we have to find a balancing act between, you know, disclosing things that influence the public and just disclosing matters of public record. And again, I'm not fighting this isn't the hill I want to die on, for lack of a better term, I just want the disclosure. And I feel like specifically the reason, and I'd like to address this with Rachel, because maybe something needs to be done, but the police report says that I was their ex, right? And that's why I released it, because it literally says in there that Shannon Walker's my ex, right? And that's a police report signed under the penalty of perjury, okay? And that's a public record. And I wanted to, and I feel that's the very spirit of Rule 3.6 of trial publicity, is to correct misstatements or miss things. And if I'm out here charged with domestic violence and charges related to having a romantic or sexual relationship with this woman and I never had, I felt in that moment, release this police report where it literally says, my ex, Shannon Walker. She's not my ex. And I felt for the public to know that I'm being charged if she's my ex, this is why the police report says that, not because it's true. And so
where did that come from?
I agree with Rachel.
Was that a legitimate mistake they made?
Yeah, they'll address it in a minute. The officer just put it in the report. Supposedly these two have never met in person. So the fact that the officer claimed that she was an ex is a sticking point for Myers.
Is that like just lazy copy paste from other similar police reports, or?
Well, see,
I think most of those kinds of cases tend to be exes. So my guess from what Ms. Stiles was saying later was that the police officer maybe didn't have, you know, he wasn't as exacting in his police report as he should have been.
Yeah, there's spoiler warnings coming up as to the fate of that particular officer. So give it a second or two and we'll get to it.
YouTube channel.
Jim, are you saying the ship sinks at the end?
Shh.
Darth Vader is Luke's father? What?
What the what? No.
Wants a strict interpretation of 15.4, that's fine, but also technically it needed to be redacted. And
are you saying JR being shot was just a dream?
Saying I couldn't at the time, right? Now I realize that the court can impose those conditions. At the moment, there wasn't, right? But so that defaults back to Rule 15.4 as a default, right? They release it, they say 15.4, you Release that balancing act of, well, how much of this do I need to release to make sure that the public knows that's what's really going on, and how much of this are you just doing to just do it, to just, you know what I mean, put everything out there. And so that's where, again, I'm an amateur when it, you know what I mean, this is my first, so
Thought he was
I'm
a
not
journalist.
against, you know, working with Rach saying, oh, because obviously I'm in jail, I won't be putting nothing out from jail.
As a media
I
company.
just want to make sure that she's referring to like publicly on YouTube. There should be no reason I shouldn't be able to like talk about the police report with my wife or my friend on the phone or like an attorney consultation type thing.
That's where I'm going.
If Rachel, correct me if I'm wrong, you're
Right
more
there
worried
is
about,
where
like,
I think he's
publicly.
giving himself an out. I'm talking to my friend on the phone.
Well,
Right.
also talking about a police report. That's not
Yes.
what Styles is talking about, which
Right.
she
Right.
delineates later.
Yeah. That's going to come up pretty quickly.
public, like out there on the public like domain, right? Like out into YouTube type public domain.
Yes, the rule specifies about putting out into the public. And so even though that these are police reports, I don't consider them public records. I don't think the law considers them public records. If they were to get them from the police department, there may be more redactions that would come if they did a public records request than what happens when I give them to the defense. And then the other issue is
Let me ask this. When you disclose them, are they completely unredacted?
No, so we have to redact the victim information and anything that's considered egregious. So those are the things by law. So we don't have body worn cameras in this case, but if we had a body worn camera and they had their computer displayed, that has to be redacted. And then victim information always has to be redacted out. Everything else is in there. So the concern wasn't just that one police report he's referencing. It's that there were emails that have been sent and they have been both supportive and, you know, against the victim in this case. And their information is all being put out in the public domain, which is also then leading, you know, that the public could then contact those people or contact witnesses, contact people involved in the case and try to intimidate people in the process. And what was happening on that channel is people that were in support of Mr. Myers, they were redacting their information and then leaving the other people's information, which is suggestive that it's being used. And I'm not saying Mr. Myers did this, and maybe the person he sent it to is then putting it out there where it could lead to intimidation of witnesses. And we just want to make sure that we keep the process, you know, clear of intrusions from outside people who don't know the situation and are trying to influence the process. And then I just want to address his issue with the one police report that had the error in it. That law enforcement officer no longer works for the agency, which is why there hasn't been anything filed to change that.
Dun, dun, dun. There you go, Pants. He no longer is a cop. They can't change his report.
Well, he doesn't work for that agency. I don't know.
He's not working for that agency.
He's no longer working for the agency.
So therefore, he can't adjust that report.
Let's hop back in. Thank you, Dave, for the $10 super chat. Hope Lane knows that his calls are now recorded. He's
always known it.
If he tells someone on the outside to do something, then he's in worse, even if he just hints around it. Yeah, he was a bit frazzled on Friday when he was like, even the calls with my wife can be monitored? And you're like, yeah. Yeah.
Remember the recording that says all these calls are monitored?
Yeah. Seriously. And what gets me is Josh Gray. Josh Gray, he may be in Florida, but he's so up Lane's butt that he's going to get charges too if this persists. Because he's airing all this stuff. He's doing the same sort of things that Lane Myers does. Yep. And seriously, he is the only one devoted to this cause. Everyone else has dropped out. No one is doing anything Lane is saying to do. It's like no one gives a shit. And
he is oddly quiet, though, all of a sudden after Friday, too.
Well, he restreamed it. He still has this 4-page letter. He was promoting that at the very end of the restream this afternoon. And frankly, I think he's not frazzled at all because Lane has said he's fine. Because he shows the same dim-witted expression every time he goes on. It wasn't. He was almost in tears when Lane
Oh
got
God. Yes.
the what do you call it? The no bond
The
hearing. He was almost in
yeah.
tears after that. But
He's
that's
a
the
political
only
prisoner.
literally that's the only expression this guy has shown. So yeah.
So that's the information the detective gave me about it.
Mr. Myers, a couple things. Police reports can be accessed as public records. What I hear from the state, though, is that when they do it, they may make more redactions than are redacted for disclosure.
And if the question on side chat here, I believe it's 7 felonies in the first set of charges and 7 misdemeanors. The second set of charges has, let me look, 3 felonies, 3 misdemeanors, with the third misdemeanor added this morning with interference with judicial proceedings. So that's 20 charges total.
Disclosure?
Less.
Okay. Well, I can't, I don't have it in front of me to know exactly, but I guess what I'm saying is that 15.4D does prohibit you as a litigant, but when you get information in disclosure, you cannot publish it to the public. That's different than if someone else goes to get a public record, what they can do with it. That makes sense? In other words, when you get it as disclosure, this rule applies, even if someone else could go down to, what is it, 40 South Zone, 20 South Zone?
600 or something. I know what you're saying.
And get that themselves. So I think we're just talking about going forward, just to admonish that 15.4D does preclude you from disclosing the information you receive in this case to the public. Does that make sense?
And then, Your Honor, on specifically the grand jury transcript, the grand jury transcript is itself a protected document. And so again, Mr. Myers may not have been aware of the statute, is that he can't just be reading and talking
That's
about the
being
results of that. And
generous.
so I want to caution that just because.
Scary, right?
Yeah, he was literally reading out of the grand jury testimony. He even said the votes for guilt. He was really over the top and pushing it last week.
And as Jim and I were talking, like, we both know you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like it's obvious. Like
And you two are idiots.
I know.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I literally never leave the house due to my allergies and working from home. And I know that, if you're in trouble, there are things you can't do. And the grand jury testimony, it's under seal. If Turtle Boy can't leak it, neither can you. Let's just say that.
And he's an award-winning journalist.
Yes, he's an award-winning journalism. Yes, journalism. So
journalism, yeah.
Journalism, yes.
He's going to get another grand jury transcript. I just want to make sure he knows that that's actually an offense.
Not aware of that.
Okay. And that's one of those things.
Siberian Husky, not to disseminate information we're not supposed to have, but it was 10-2, according to Lane Myers, for the first grand jury. There was a second grand jury, which resulted in the second set of charges last week. Or it was the same, or whatever. I'm tired and I'm babbling at this point, so give me a couple to get it back together.
You wouldn't have gotten that, but for your status as a litigant, that's why you got it. But there are statutes that provide that those can't be publicly disclosed. So the inability to produce information to the public would include the grand jury transcripts. Yes.
I just wanted to clarify something for the record, and I'm not disagreeing with Rachel, but the police reports, when you go get them from the police department, they actually are not redacted. The victim's information would have been shown. And on top of that,
Are you kidding me?
we went out of our way to redact every single one of those emails. I want the record to reflect. If you put that video up,
I'm not sure that I'd buy what he's saying 100%. But
No.
We'd have to go back and check. Yeah.
Do not release this without redacting it. So the channel she's talking about spent hours redacting all those emails. They might have shown like the first part of a couple, but not the. There was no way for anybody to watch that video and email anybody off that video with the complete email address. But I'm not sitting here trying to nitpick with Rachel either. I get her point.
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
All right, so that we've addressed the 15.4D issue. Anything else we need to, and again, I'll talk about the schedule here in a moment. Anything else
Judge
we
is
need to
moving.
discuss?
Your
He's
Honor, are you
moving
able
along,
to
man.
do his arraignment today? I believe the documents should be now available to the court so that we could do the arraignment.
Please.
I looked.
As the judge is saying, the arraignment is also not available online yet. I don't know if it ever will, but we were having the same difficulty that the judge is having.
It up, and only the first page of the indictment was available. Let's see if I can get this changed at all.
Oh,
No,
and
you
at
know,
this point,
what happened
it is
with the
what I
indictment
realized, Jim. The judge is probably my age, perhaps a bit older.
Why do you realize it at this point?
Look at her. Look at what she's
This
doing.
is how he was typing. Okay. I mean, whatever works, man. Whatever works. Directly, if you publish the grand jury transcripts, there is a law in Arizona that could hit you sideways. They'll
It's
talk. I mean,
a printed document that's signed by the grand jury foreman and the prosecutor, and then that's uploaded. So it's not electronically filed. So let me look again.
Yeah, I see it's only in Agave showing the first page.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Somehow it didn't all get scanned in when it was.
I don't know if there's a way for the court to get it. I just think it would be better for everybody's time if
Agave is the only access I have.
Okay,
So,
Friday.
yeah, so it's Friday. Well, why don't we, again, I don't want to go forward to the indictment, arena on the indictment. I'm not confident that there's only 3 counts, for example, and I just got to have the whole document. And so again, Mr. Myers, what I got was page 1. That's what's on.
I haven't got anything.
Yeah, you don't. This is on Agave, but it doesn't have the whole thing because there's obviously got to be a signature page as well, which I got to make sure that it's been signed properly before I can arraign. So,
Can you clarify something about the because again, first grand jury transcript thing.
Right.
There's a rule that says you can't talk about or like that can't be like released to the public. Is that what the contention is, Rachel?
It's a statute, is it not?
It's a statute,
Okay.
and revealing it's a class 1 misdemeanor. So
Okay.
There you
that's
go.
why I just want to make sure.
Referee.
Like ever revealing
I think you have to get court order to.
Yeah, it has to be under court order that can be released.
Okay.
That's why I just want to make sure that Mr. Myers was, put on notice
Sure,
of that
sure.
so he knows.
I didn't even know that. So unless there's a court order, it's private.
Correct.
It's considered like sealed or something type thing?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. All right, so I'm going to leave it to one of the hearing officers to do the arraignment on Friday. And then in this case,
Because we'd also like to set the next like representation here at the same time if possible.
yeah, so in our case, the first case, I'll say, we have a case management conference on the 15th. You could file a motion, Ms. Stiles, to accelerate the case management conference in the other case. If you could do that, and then we could get them both on the 15th, or set a status conference, whatever you want to. Or I could set a status, well, can I set a status conference, I guess, before he's arraigned?
So at the arraignment hearing, we can just make sure it gets set on the 15th
Okay.
along with the other case.
Can you make a note, whoever's covering arraignments, to do that?
I'll be there.
Oh, you'll be there, okay, all right.
So I'll make sure that they get
Okay.
put together.
All right, so, Mr. Myers, what's going to happen is, the case management conference is the first court hearing once you're held over for trial. And at that, we'll talk about the status of discovery, and I intend to also do the pretrial conference so we can set that trial date. At the arraignment on Friday, Ms. Stiles will be there, and she'll ask the judge to set a case management conference and pretrial conference on April 15th in the new case. So when we come here on April 15th, both cases will be here. And when we set hearings, they always have to give notice to the crime victims, and the crime victims will be notified that the April 15th is the next court hearing. Okay? Sure.
Can we do the Ferretta at some point in Friday or what?
Let's do that on the 15th as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if he files anything, now for the one case number,
The current?
the current case number, and then I imagine a lot of the things that he would file for the first case number would also apply to the second one, then he can just do a motion to also put it under the other case number. That would be fine.
And I'll, let's just do that. And we'll make sure, Mr. Myers, that if you're filing something that would address both cases, that I'll make sure that it covers both cases.
They won't.
I intend to, I'll just tell you, as of right now, unless something happens between now and the 15th, I would intend to allow you to represent yourself, but we have to have that formal hearing. But you haven't been arraigned on it, so
It's kind of like a procedural.
it's a procedural thing. And there's what's called regular order, that we have to follow these rules. And I know that it's like, I just want to get to this point, but we just have to do it, okay?
May I say something, Your Honor?
Yes.
On Friday, since it's just an arraignment, a matter of semantics, usually that's just covered by the standing attorney. I don't know if the court needs me specifically for an arraignment just to say we're ready for the next court date.
Any reason why
It's standing an arraignment attorney.
Yeah, so there's always a defense attorney assigned to those. So that's
Yeah.
up to them of whether they want that person to stand in. The release conditions are already set because of the no bond hearing. So it's
Okay.
only the
See,
arraignment, but
Mr.
that's
Myers,
up to them.
Mr. Myers, you're
I don't mind being there, but it's double coverage. They might-
Friday date.
Friday,
The date.
the 4th. That's the arraignment. So, Mr. Myers, you have no objection if just the covering defense
No,
counsel?
because it's just procedural, right? Arraignment.
Correct.
And then we can get to the Ferretta and all that.
Correct,
They
on the
did
15th.
say, he asked me to say something about a settlement conference. That's something that he just whispered in my ear.
Okay, so at this point, did you observe anything about this whispering or anything, Judy? And is Judy frozen?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you observe? Like you're sitting
was-
there and you're smiling, and
She was drinking. She was drinking.
She
That's-
was drinking.
That's what that pause was. Yes.
about the settlement conference, what was the body language like during this?
Parvin was trying very hard to get him just to say settlement conference. Just say settlement conference. Because I don't think that's something that he would have known about. Of course, what is a settlement conference? That's when you talk about plea deals.
Right. And that's coming
So
up here.
yeah. That certainly wasn't a thing. I recall hearing him in one of his bouts of talking over everyone saying absolutely no plea. I give you a
Right.
week to pull the charges. So to all of a sudden be talking about a settlement conference, I was like, that's a change. That's a change.
Now at a different time last week, he was saying he was being frustrated. He was frustrated on air, and he's like, well, if this doesn't, I'm just gonna take the plea deal. I'm gonna shut down my channel, and I'm gonna walk away. And
Yep.
yeah.
He was also going to rat everybody out and testify against them and be a free man.
Because everybody else was going to get all these charges too.
Yes.
For replaying his videos. And
Yes.
I am Spartacus and all that bullshit.
Yep.
He was going for that, basically. Everyone is going to replay the videos, so you have to charge all of them, and it's all or nothing, and all this malarkey.
Directy, I will say I am no lawyer. So you have probably studied the law, in some areas more than I have. But I do know that jury deliberations, whether it's a grand jury or not, are held to an entirely different level than other information from courts. But that's me pulling from my YouTube University degree, which is worth all the money I paid for it.
In this particular case, the judge and the prosecutor just talked about it. So you disagree with them. I don't know.
Right.
So, Your
Okay.
Honor, I'm not sure where Mr. Myers is, if he's interested in a plea agreement or not. It seems like that's gone back and forth of whether he is or isn't. I would suggest a settlement conference, so we can just schedule that, at a time that works, and we'll just make sure that that Mr. Myers is transported for that. So that's up to him. But I don't want to have a settlement conference if he isn't actually interested in discussing.
Would you be
a
interested in
possible-
attending?
Yeah, I mean, I would sign a plea bargain today, but I was told yesterday that Rachel doesn't want to do that for a few weeks.
Okay.
There you go. I would sign
Wow.
a plea bargain today.
Today.
He's capitulated, or at least he's giving the appearance of capitulation. I don't think this is going to go to trial. I think he's going to plead out. What he gets ultimately, and what deterrent, because he's shown time after time after time, if you give him conditions, he's going to violate them. This supposed voluntary no live streaming, oh boy, you done it for 4 days. What happens when you get pissed off? You're going to go right back to doing it. I mean, we saw it with Floyd Wallace the other day. Floyd Wallace, of all people, making promises not to ban anyone. Screw it, I'm angry. I'm going to pay you all back for the money you gave me not to ban people. But then he goes and bans everybody. His entire side chat got banned. So let's give Lane Myers a couple of days before he makes these promises, and if they keep these promises. My hope would be if he does take the plea deal, there's enough of a deterrent, or if there is a plea deal, there's enough of a deterrent to stop the behavior, to stop the doxing, to stop everything. Because, I mean, frankly, just if this happened to his wife, with the number of threats he's made, last week he thought someone was taking pictures of his wife in court to send a direct D, and he was going insane over it.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just stop. Go ahead.
Well, and remember the direct D threw something through his window, and helicopters, and the police were there, and everything.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting on the police report from that. I paid for it last week. Let's see if it ever comes in. So the sheriff's department report is supposed to be here eventually. So when that comes in, and if that comes in, I will be releasing it on the website. We'll probably do a story about it, and anyone who wants it, just contact me, and I will get it out there. Good to see you, Robert Fortin.
It's remember we talked about the separation of powers.
Why not?
And one, just hold on. One of the things is only the state can decide whether to offer a plea or not. I'm not involved in that. You can go before a different judge, not me, to talk about a plea. Again, that's up to you all. At the same time, remember, you want this set for trial as quickly as possible, and I think it should be set for trial as quickly as possible. That sometimes is inconsistent with plea negotiations, which can go back and forth, and we have a victim in this case, so they have to reach out to the victim. But I think she's going to set a settlement conference, and she can make a plea offer if the state wants to.
Is that like an open court?
It's a written offer, and then they give it to you as a document.
Okay, and it's not the trial judge.
The settlement conference is before another judge. It's off the record though. It's not live streamed or
perfect. It's kind of like a civil thing too.
Correct.
He doesn't want anybody to know about
it. If you take a plea, that's obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean the discussion.
Yeah.
He was like, but it's not going to be here, right? It's not going to be streamed. It's not right. He wants to make sure nobody knows about his plea deal.
Yeah. It'll eventually come out, but what was offered and what he turned down or whatever. He doesn't want his followers to know that. And today, I think he did more damage to himself with his followers than anything by taking this tone. Unless they get on and do, we didn't really mean it. Somehow, tell his followers that he's got a lot of explaining to do as to why he behaved the way he did today. especially to his diehards.
Do you really think, though? I mean, if he goes on stream and goes, "Yeah, I did it that way because you have to play along, in order to get out, and I always want to get out." You really think they're gonna go, "Oh, you shouldn't have done it"?
I don't know, because he's been pledging. He's been getting them to the point where they're going to drink the Kool-Aid, and they're all going to die together. And if you're right to the point of putting the Kool-Aid to your lips and say, "Oh, well, I'm saving myself, but you guys go drink the Kool-Aid."
Look at the time. I got something I got to go do.
Yeah, they're going to be a little pissed about it. They're going to be just a little pissed about it.
Yeah.
As the first couple of people drop over. So, I mean, not to be graphic, but yeah, he has a lot of explaining to do. The fire and brimstone last week, where he was demanding and Donald Trump was coming and the QAnon shaman, and I know a lot of it was him just being over the top to be over the top, but he has honest people who believe this stuff. Now, they won't act for him. It's the same thing Regan Benson was saying, that, when it comes to actually going to jail, no one's lining up to go to jail with her. They can fill a chat room, they can send her super chats, but no one is willing to take the extra step to go to jail for the cause. And that's what a lot of these folks are finding out. You are living with this army in your mind, but there's no real army with you. So
there were fewer people there today for him than there were on Friday. So
yeah,
so they're Will Ferrell running through the quad. Everybody's doing it.
What was he performing for the extra folks that were there? Maybe, but I think he had a bad weekend.
And I think reality's hitting him. I don't think they're going to give him consecutive charges of up to 60 years in prison, but I think even 6 months is a lot to someone like Lane Meyer. He is to the point where he does what he wants. He was at the lower level courts in Tucson, where they literally don't care what he does. They let him do whatever he's going to do. And this judge is just like, okay, you're not going to do that. And you are facing real consequences. It's time to grow up and get real and realize that you screwed up, but there's still time to save this before you're in jail for the rest of your life. And Direct D says none of his Tucson friends were there to support Lane. Make no mistake. And none of Direct D's, other than the one guy, again, you said the one guy with the phone was there from last time.
Another Friday, two other people came in late. One was a really tall guy with his arm or shoulder in a sling. They're and those were the ones that got together after the hearing to say, okay, now who's streaming when, who's got this, who's got that. So he definitely had more support on Friday when he was kind of flipping out, and I took my 20 pages of notes.
Yeah.
Today I took 4.
Right.
And there was his wife/girlfriend and the guy with the phone, and that was it. That was all that were there to support him.
So there you go. Yeah, I am Spartacus. Kind of hard when there's 2 people claiming I am Spartacus. you know? Because if it's 20, yeah, you might get away with it. 2, I don't know.
And it's confidential, right?
Yes.
Like when I also have the obligation to not leave that settlement conference and talk about it, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's confidential.
That's what I thought, Direct D. Tall guys, Tucson police suck, and he's not there to support Lane. Yeah, I've noticed
they all had a
that.
cigarette together afterwards, talking about streaming. So that's where I made the assumption from, if it was a bad assumption.
Well, it's not a bad assumption because they used to hang out at these things together. You know, that's how I first saw Lane's, it was a restream on Tucson Police Suck. But a lot of the locals are not there for Lane. A lot of the people who used to support him are not there for Lane. It's obvious right now that whatever's going on, that they are wiping their hands of him. You know, they're not coming out for him.
Well, you can tell. I mean, you can tell it is not the typical things that they would have an agenda about, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying that that's their perspective. And this is clearly not that.
Right.
Right. Anybody can see it, right? Like except for Lane. Lane can't see it, but
right.
Anybody else goes, this is just nuts.
And I do think just the interstate stuff he's done, he is cutting himself off from so many resources. The stuff he did against DirectD, doxing DirectD was probably the stupidest thing he could do.
Oh, yeah.
Because DirectD has shown that he is a tremendous resource. He's a tremendous help. You know, you don't have to like the guy. I think DirectD said when it comes to his kids, he's a psychopath. He's going to protect his kids no matter what.
And rightfully so, right? As a parent, I'm the exact same way.
But at the same time, when Lane's burning these bridges, his life would have been so much easier if he had a big brother or somebody telling him, hey, shut the F up and listen to me. Don't get yourself into 20 charges here. Don't go pro se because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And you're just going to get in deeper and deeper and deeper. And nobody is coming to his rescue right now. So unless he pulls out a Hail Mary somewhere, this is either going to go to trial or it's going to get a very big, what do you call it, a plea deal that will not be going in his favor.
And the reason for that is sometimes people will speak frankly about the case and they don't want that to be used against them at trial.
So there's like some kind of rule that says that what we talk about can't be used against you?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it 408 or 411?
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the evidence rules.
It's in the evidence rules in the chapter 400 series.
So it's kind of like civil, anything we talk about, any monetary, all that, can't talk about.
Right. It can't be used against you.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to be back in court on April 15th in this case.
And Your Honor, one more. So Mr. Myers, let me know. I didn't know that the jail no longer has a specific law library. It sounds like they've changed that to their tablets, but it sounds like he may not have access to that. So I'm going to talk to a lieutenant at the jail to just make sure that Mr. Myers has access to everything he needs so he can do his research.
Right.
I don't know if he has paper and pen yet. It sounds like OCAC, if he's not able to get that,
Thanks, if you need, tell me what you need.
that Mr. Parvin can work with OCAC and
You don't have any pens at all?
the public
I have nothing.
defense. So that he can work with the public defense services to make sure that he is supplied with paper and pens as needed so that he can then take care of those issues. And then they also can supply Mr. Parvin with a computer that can play everything so that he has access to make sure he's able to review all the disclosure.
Okay.
So I think that hopefully will take care of his issues with not having access to things for him to be able to represent himself.
All right.
So if there are further issues, they can just notify, notify if there's an issue so that we can make sure it gets resolved.
Mr. Myers, one reason to have advisory council is if you have issues like that, you can call Mr. Parvin and say, hey, I can't get this, and this, and then Mr. Parvin can work to do that. That's an important part of what advisory council does. But you have to tell him, and it sounds like we're going to get that set up.
Yeah,
If it's not,
Some paper.
Because, once you gave the official, like last week you said, there's an order now to go to the law library. Well, I put something in and they go, oh, we got rid of the law library 2 years ago.
yeah, they have to have something there.
Yeah. So
And that goes back to your point, Judy, that Parvin doesn't seem to know anything about this jail and what's actually going on there. If they got rid of the law library 2 years ago, if Lane wasn't lying about that, then that's a pretty big thing to miss.
And the CEO backed up with that. He was like, yeah, no, they all do it through tablets now. So yeah.
I wasn't aware that they got rid of their official law library, but it sounds like they're doing it through the tablets. But I will find out and make sure that he has access. And if there's any issue that he's not getting access, I'll notify the court so the court can enter whatever orders are needed.
Yeah, because that's important, obviously, that he. I don't know the exact. I don't know the exact state of the law, but obviously he has to have the ability to do legal research for his defense. And then whether that's through Mr. Parvin, through paralegal, or how they do it, I don't know that. I'm not making a ruling on that, but we need to track that down so that that's addressed.
Is the court allow? I mean, we're going to allow handwritten motions. Is that we're under that understanding?
You can do handwritten motions as long as I can read your handwriting. So I'll tell you.
They don't have any other option.
Yeah, just the other thing you could do is you could give a handwritten motion, and Mr. Parvin could have it typed up. I take it as that.
Very busy, and he's a one-man show.
Well, I could still think I agree with that. I don't mind it. If your name on it, I can type it up for you if it's something you want to write.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you, it's better for you if I can read it. Okay, I'm just
well,
telling.
I agree. But I mean, I can put, a heading Superior Court, blah, blah, and you're cool with it being handwritten and stuff.
Yes.
Right, okay. Thank you.
And
I
there's
just
ways.
need paper. I just need a way to write it now.
Right.
And I just want to clarify that I know we're on the other case, but I'm still, if they're appointed on that case until April 15th, if I decide a motion's in the best interest, I believe I can still file at this point. Unless you can order me not to file motions.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just make it clear you said you want to present yourself.
You're
But
right.
I may
In that interview, right? No, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Parvin's still the attorney of record in the newest case matter.
And that's kind of why they also said the law library is still I think what she's saying is about they're going to give me the tablet for maybe more time than the other inmates or something. Maybe that's how the law library.
Yeah,
We all got to share the tablet, and it's like we only 25 people sharing a tablet. And if I need to sit there for 2 hours and do legal research and write down a motion and all that, it's kind of like I'm not really special enough to take away the privileges of somebody else calling their family or something. And so as long as go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, it's like, so I feel like it sounds like Rachel's going to do her due diligence and try to figure out a way that I get like a dedicated time where it's like, you get to use this right now to do the law stuff.
Yeah, I think she's going to look into this, and if it hasn't been resolved, we have to come back to court.
He made a couple leaps right there that I know the judge is not in control of the jail and how they pass out the tablets.
Right.
I know the prosecutor is not in charge of that either. I know the jail is in charge of that, and the jail does have to abide by judge's orders if they can. How he got that into, I'm going to have a dedicated 2-hour slot every day, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's Lane Myers for you.
Well, that's part of his problem is he does this all the time. He takes like small fragments of information and draws a giant conclusion.
Yes. Yeah, we're seeing that a lot with Lane. Yeah. As far as why is the wife with him, who knows? That's coming up inside chat. Who knows what's going on there?
I think Pants is right. Everybody loves somebody.
Yeah.
We'll have to have someone from the jail here to go over that. So that it's an important part of your defense. Okay, so we're going to come back on April 15th, and I think we'll have the two cases. And I don't know if that. So what that means, I'll call both cases. They're two separate cases. There may be a motion to consolidate to try it all at once.
Sure.
Either side.
Okay.
There's a rule of criminal procedure allows for consolidation. So someone might want me to make.
You're going to file that?
Might want to make that motion if you want to try it all at once or to trial. I'm not prejudged. I'm just saying that should be addressed.
Yeah,
So
I do want that. If Rachel, you want to file it, we stipulate. I don't know how you want to do that. If we each need to file a motion or what, but if it's stipulation, whatever.
I can put in the motion and then put his position into it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? All right. We're going to see you back on April 15th. And that's on the 9 a.m. calendar, correct?
Thank you, sir.
With that, we're adjourned to your excuse. Have a good day, everybody.
You too.
That was a different
And we're out.
different lane than Friday.
And a different judge too. He's a little more relaxed today.
I mean, I definitely Parvin, and I think the judge too was just trying to get through it on Friday, and
Right.
with Lane not bouncing off the walls. Look at that, they did it in under an hour.
Right. As somebody brought up, maybe whatever drugs were in his system finally are out. Maybe there's a lot of.
I don't even know when he was taken into custody before, but
Maybe they switched him to decaf in the jail.
But I honestly think that he's not built to do time. He's not.
Oh no, he will get himself into trouble quickly.
Yes. And at least he hasn't disappeared like Craig Henry has literally disappeared to the point where Chili DeCastro is sending him books, and that's all you hear from Craig Henry. That's literally all you hear from Craig Henry. He used to be addressing his followers from the jail same way. It wasn't live streaming. It was the way Chili did it last year, where he was recording it and then it was distributed and there was a fundraising pitch and they were making good money off of it, but that hasn't happened since early January and the fundraising has completely died. Other than one, I did have to apologize in the paper this morning because I forgot the one donation they got last month. I think it was $60.
How dare you? How dare you?
But Myers for the year is leading all the campaigns. Literally made $3,000, a little over $3,000 last month, in March. So he's pulling in money, but it's not enough money to actually support his wife, the house, whatever money he was making before. He's not pulling it in right now. He's not working anywhere. He's not doing whatever the hell he was doing to make the money. And that $3,000, I mean, that's not going to go very far.
Right.
And without him addressing his fans every day to make the money pitch, it's not going to be enough to support him going forward, especially if he does long-term jail time.
And especially once people hear that he's willing to plea now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 180-degree difference from Friday's hearing.
Directly, he's threatened to sue us multiple times now. So just we're a tiny little channel and a tiny little news outlet. He doesn't also get that, had he not done that, we may have been more friendly towards him. We would not have ignored some of the things where he actually absolutely needed somebody to cover him. There's not any profit in Lane Myers right now. I mean, we're getting 100.
He still wants K-Gun 9 to show up at the jail to interview him.
Yeah.
I really don't think that's going to happen. I mean, he keeps saying K-Gun 9. It's a decent station. I don't think they're coming.
Yeah. But like with us, I can make 3 or 4 times just by covering Chili DeCastro taking a dump. If we're talking finances and things you have to think about when you're devoting your entire day to reporting on this stuff, there is not enough of a financial result to keep reporting on Lane. We're gonna have 3 Lane stories tomorrow. We had 2 released already. The third one's going to go in the paper on his capitulation, but we're not going to make any money off of it. As big as he thinks these stories are, they really aren't.
Right.
It's not national news. I mean, we've had a great show tonight, and I'm not bitching about that. We'll make a little money off of this, but the fact is that he has a relatively tiny YouTube channel. We basically have 1/3 of his subscribers. He has 15,000 subscribers. And I'm sure those are real subscribers, unlike the Chili DeCastro BS. But I mean, he is representing himself on the level of a Long Island audit, where as much as we all don't like Long Island audit, his people are real. 8,000 people show up for his live chats. You know, if he needs money, they're going to give him money. It's not the same situation, and Lane is getting a hard lesson on that a relatively tiny channel in the scope of things isn't going to mean that an endless supply of money is going to come in and there's going to be a cavalry every 5 minutes when you freaking screw up. So that's my little rant from behind the scenes here. You know, as we finally hit 5,000, again, thank you all for that as we're going to start to wrap up here. I do want to thank Direct D for hanging with us. I want to thank the side chat. I know he's a controversial figure. I do want to thank you all for abiding by my wishes and keeping it relatively calm in side chat. Everybody's welcome in our chats. You know, other than a couple of people who I've instantly banned because they're... Well, one owes me $127,000, cough, cough, and the other was threatening to burn down my house with that publicly available information. So those little people are not welcome in the chat, but otherwise, it's good to see that everybody's welcome and everyone has abided by our wishes.
Jim is so thin-skinned. You threatened to burn his house down once.
I know. You know, guy just can't take a joke.
I know. And I do want to thank Judy for going down the rabbit hole yet again today. I'm
apparently signing up for more, it sounds like.
Yes.
I am a masochist. Well, honestly, I was hoping this would go to trial because trial would probably pop off. I don't think it's going to be going to trial now.
Right.
So we'll see.
He's got to be arraigned on Friday, and that...
I'm not going to that one. That'll take 15 minutes, and you know.
Yeah, he'll be in and out because he's already not getting out because of the no bond deal.
Case management on April 15th is the next kind of big one, and that will hopefully have kind of everything joined up at that point.
Right.
That's a frickin' 9 a.m. my time, which means I'm going to be in rush hour going downtown Tucson.
Yeah, but we'll reward you. We'll find the alcohol.
I'm going to say, where are the checks? I haven't had the checks yet. Dang it, I got to work better on the grift.
You mean what little we make? Yeah, I'm barely supporting myself off this channel. I'm actually looking for work right now, so... but yeah, there are certain realities we all have to face, and you in rush hour traffic at 9 a.m., well, I'll work on getting Pants and Blue Bacon to read the encyclopedia or the what do you call it to you? No, I can't think.
Oh my gosh, what was that book that Blue started? The really bad one, the bad vampire one. That would be hysterical.
Oh dear.
Oh no, Artie and the dinosaur porn.
Blue Bacon's version of that, yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, on that note, let's go around the panel. Let's get some final good nights, and thank you again to our audience for being here. Thank you again for Direct D for stopping by. I'm sure you'll make fun of us later, but hey, that's part of being a publicly available YouTube channel. But again, it was good seeing you. And when if they do send me the documents from the Sheriff's Department, I will make sure that you get a copy. Just tell me how to get them to you if they finally come in. So let's go around panel. Let's get final good night, starting with Pants.
Good night, everyone. Remember... I can't remember. I forgot.
Pope Phil?
Direct D, that is not tobacco you're smoking. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsor stations, WFYC 99.9 on YouTube and WFYG 940 on your AM dial.
And finally, the lovely Judy.
It's been fun. And I'm going back for more. That says more about me than it does about anybody else. It's fine. I'm gonna start therapy soon, I'm sure.
There you go. On that note, folks, thank you again for being here. We'll be back tomorrow night with the finals of the Worst Auditor Tournament bracket thingy. It's Chili DeCastro versus LIA. We've got a lot to talk about there. And on that note,
Hey,
good.
at least Lane didn't cry. I will give him that.
Well, there's always next time.
Could be. Could be.
Good night, everybody. Don't forget to close out your tab, and don't forget to tip your waitress.